Assalamualaikum and very good day to all of you. I'm going to talk about integumentary system. Okay, integumentary system consists of two main parts: cutaneous membrane of the skin and accessory structures. Okay, under the subcutaneous membrane or skin, we have dermis and epidermis layer. In processory structures, we have hair follicles, nail, and also exocrine gland. Okay, before we begin the anatomy of the integumentary system, these are all the functions of the skin of the integumentary system. Okay, first, it protects from cold, heat, and radiation. And secondly, it protects from pressure or abrasion, and also the chemical substances, and also the protection from microorganisms. Well, not all can be protected, but well, some form of protective acid is present in the skin, and also protect from heat and water loss. And it also defends against invading microorganisms, absorption of certain substances, perspiration for cooling, or this is mainly called thermoregulator. It includes the circulatory and thermoregulation by means of the thermovascular system, and also not finally one of the functions is for sensory detection. Okay, let's go to the cutaneous membrane of skin first. We have two types of skin: thick skin and also thin skin. Thick skin is hairless. Okay, it can be found on palms, soles of the hand and feet. And thin skin is heavy. Thin skin is heavy. These are the differences between thick or non-hairy skin and also thin or hairy skin. All the differences of these two types of skin. But the thick skin is hairless. Okay, it's hairless. This is the epidermis layer, followed by the dermis. You can see there is no hair follicles in thick skin, but there are so many vessels present, and also sensory nerve end present in the thick skin. While the thin skin, they are hairy. Hair follicle, the vessel is less compared to the thick skin. Okay. This is the histology of thick skin and thin skin. Okay. Now we go into detail about the epidermis. The epidermis is the most superficial layer of skin. This is dermis, and this is all epidermis. Okay, they consist of stratified squamous epithelium. You have to know this. You have to memorize this. Epidermis is made of stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of epidermis in thin skin, and there are 5 layers in thick skin. And the cells that present in epidermis are melanocyte, Merkel cells, Langerhans cells, keratinocyte, which is the most abundant type of cell in the epidermis. Okay, these are all the layers of epidermis. As I mentioned, the thin skin only have 4 layers of strata, the stratum, while the thick skin they have 5 layers of epidermis. Let's begin with the stratum corneum, the outermost, and then the lucidum, granulosum, spinosum, and germinativum. Okay, first is the stratum corneum. The stratum corneum, the outermost layer of the epidermis, and is comprised of dead skin cells. Okay, they are consist of dead skin cells. The cells are flattened and coated with glycolipid to act as a water barrier. Okay, so that your body won't have water loss easily, right? So that we don't get dehydrated easily because of the presence of this corneum. It's one of the factors. Okay, and then second layer is the stratum lucidum. In this layer, the nucleus disappears. Cells fill with keratin. Okay, but this layer is only visible in thick skin. Where can you find the thick skin again? It's in your sole and your palm. And the stratum granulosum, this layer, is the most superficial of the non-keratinized layer. Okay, the cells contain numerous keratohydrin granules. And the stratum spinosum, this layer is several cells. You differentiate the stratum spinosum in this histological image. Okay, it's larger than in the stratum germinativum. Okay, it's easily visible. Cytoplasmic processes attached by the cells in this layer to other cells by desmosome. They are present of desmosome in between cells layer in this stratum. As they mature, they become flatter and increase in size. Okay. And the last of the innermost is the stratum germinativum. Stratum germinativum is a single layer of cells resting on basal lamina. Okay, it has stem cells from which keratinocyte arise. The cells are small and cuboidal to low volume. It has less cytoplasm than the cells. Okay. And now we go to the dermis or dermal layer. The dermis is the layer beneath the epidermis. So the epidermis and the dermis layer, dermal layer. Okay, it's major part of the major parts in the dermis are collagen and reticular fibers and elastic fibers. All the fibers. Okay, collagen, reticular fibers, and elastic fibers. Collagen is a protein that adds strength. Reticular fibers are thin protein fibers that add support, and elastic fibers is a protein that adds flexibility. Elastic flexibility, reticular support, and collagen strength. Okay, the dermis has 2 layers. Okay. The papillary layer is white colored in this image. And then you have the reticular layer down. The papillary layer first is loose connective tissue, right? All the macrophages, the mast cells, the dermal dendrocytes, and also the basal and at least the papillary layer, because they are loose type of connective tissue. And then you have the reticular layer here. It's more dense connective tissue. These layers are so closely associated that they are difficult to differentiate. Right? The papillary layers first. Large directly begin the epidermis and connect to its papilla. And this is the papilla. This is what we call papilla, finger-like projection. This region contains the capillaries supplying the epidermis. And remember, you don't have the capillaries of blood vessel in the epidermal layer. Okay, an axon of the sensory neuron that monitor receptor in the papillary layer. The elastic fibers form an irregular network, including the substance of the dermal papilla and dermal ridge. Papilla and dermal ridge. And now we go to the dermal layer, the layer beneath the papillary layer. The reticular layer appears denser and contains fewer, because they are dense connective tissue, they are denser and they are having less cells in it. The fibers form an interlacing network, although their predominant direction is parallel to the surface of the skin. The reticular layer also contains fascin and corpuscle, sensory receptors for deep pressure, and this layer contains sweat gland, the lymph vessel. So here, it comes along with the vessels. The smooth muscle, can you see smooth muscle here? This one, okay. The hair follicles, okay. Fascin and corpuscle in the reticular layer of the dermis. This means the corpuscles in the epidermis. Now we go to the accessory structure. First is the hair follicle. Hair follicles are composed of keratinized cells that develop from hair follicle. Hairs are composed of keratinized cells. This is hair. Composed of keratinized cells that develop from the hair follicle. These are all the hair follicle. As I mentioned, the hair follicle is embedded in the reticular layer of the dermis. The coloration of the hair is due to the content a type of melanin that the hair contains. The base of the follicle is called the bulb. Okay. This hair, this all the brown color hair. The base of the hair is called the hair bulb. At the base of the bulb, there is an invagination, hair papilla. The outermost part of the follicle is the external sheath. Okay, and external sheath. Okay, the hair shaft, the hair root. Okay, the hair bulb, the hair papilla down here. Functions of hair. They are protecting the scalp from ultraviolet light. They prevent the entry of foreign particles. They also have thermoregulatory action. Now we go to the nail. Okay, this is nail. It is actually accessory part of the integumentary system. Nails are protective covering over the ends of fingers. Nails consist of stratified squamous epithelial cell overlying the nail. This is the nail. With the lunula is the most actively growing region of the male root. Okay, this is the male, the pH of the male, and this is the lunula. Okay, this is the eponychium, proximal male. This is male, cuticle of the male. Okay. As new cells are produced, older ones are pushed outward and become okay. And then we go to exocrine gland, exocrine gland. This is the thermoregulation. They excrete waste public epidermis. We have two types of glands, exocrine gland. Sebaceous gland and also sweat gland. And sweat gland is commonly heard then. Sebaceous gland, they secrete oily lipid, or it's called sebum, that coats hair, shaft, and epidermis. They provide lubrication and antibacterial action. The two types of sebaceous gland, the typical sebaceous gland and sebaceous gland. The typical sebaceous gland secretes into hair follicles, and sebaceous follicle secretes onto skin cells. In the sweat gland, they produce water in solution in marrow fine secretion. They flush epidermal surface. They perform other special functions that can be present as apocrine gland, apocrine sweat gland, and also merocrine sweat. Apocrine sweat gland limited distribution area, like in axilla, the groin, the nipple. They produce a viscous secretion of complex composition. Possible function and communication. They are strongly influenced by hormones. There are two types of apocrine sweat glands: the ceruminous glands and mammary gland. The ceruminous glands secrete waxy serum into the external ear canal, and mammary gland is apocrine gland specialized for the reproduction. These two are actually the modified apocrine sweat gland. In the merocrine sweat gland, they are located all in the dermis. They produce thin secretion, mostly water. They have merocrine secretion mechanism. They control primarily by the nervous system. Important in thermoregulation and excretion, they have some antibacterial action. Okay, now we go to the sebaceous gland. Okay, sebaceous gland. Sebaceous gland. This gland secretes sebum or waxy oily secretion. This is a hollow crine type secretion. The bulk of the product and cells are discharged from the gland. Cells of the product in it are discharged from the gland. This is called hollow crine. And the sebum coats the hair and skin surface. And then we have two types of sweat gland, the merocrine and apocrine. Merocrine, as I mentioned, they are controlled by the nervous system. Apocrine, they can be found in axilla, groin, and nipples. Their secretion are influenced by hormones. It can be found in the mammary gland and the external ear canal. This production of eggs. Mammary gland produces breast milk. Merocrine is used as thermoregulation and excretion. Apocrine is for reproduction and wax production. These are some few clinical importance related to the integumentary system. first is burn. I believe you always, you know what is burn. It can be due to fire, chemicals, radiation, and also electricity. There are three main types of burn. You see the first degree burn, second degree burn, and third degree burn. The first degree burn involves the epidermis. If you don't even go into the dermis, the dermal layer. It is usually redness and pain, chills, weakly, nose covering. The most common is sunburn. This is the sun. First degree burning. Sunburn is the first degree. And then you have second degree burn, all epidermis and some dermis. Dermal layer are affected. It causes redness, pain, and blisters. Typically heal with ease. Infection can occur. Scarring is. And then the third degree, they destroy both the epidermis and dermis, layer of the skin, appear light green dark, no pain. Yeah, this third degree, they don't have pain because the nerve ends also. They mention this burn, the hairs, the basal glands, sweat glands, nerve, etc. are all destroyed. And now we go to the acne. Okay. Sebaceous glands and follicles are very sensitive to changes in concentration of sex hormone. For this reason, an individual with large sebaceous gland may be especially prone to developing during puberty. So some of you might have large sebaceous gland, some of you have normal size sebaceous gland. So that's why the incidence of acne are all different among each other. This aging effect in the skin. Okay, when you get old, okay, the melanocyte become lesser. This produces pale skin. The person will become reduced tolerance for sun exposure, and they will have dry epidermis because reduction in the sebaceous and sweat gland activity. They have thin epidermis, so if they have injury to the skin, the epidermal layer, they will have slow repair and decrease the vitamin D production, reduce sweat gland activity. Thin, the dermis become thin, this will cause sagging and wrinkling due to the fiber loss, reduce blood supply, slow healing, changes in distribution of fat and hair due to reduction in sex hormone level. They will become heat intolerance and fewer active follicles, thinner, sparse hair. The hair become lesser and lesser. Okay, if you want to watch the video related to the introduction to integumentary system, you can click this link. Okay. All right. Okay, I wish you all the best. Thank you for hearing this.